Hakadosh Boker Tov. We're continuing on Daf Gimel Amud Aleph. This is 93A1 in Masechet Pesahim. Yeah, we went and we just said we brought a proof to that which we just said. This is on Tzadik Bet Amud Bet on the bottom where we said Amar Rav Sheshat says Rav Sheshat Mena Amina La. How do I know such a concept? He went and he said the time was learned in the Braita. Rabbi Akiva, Omer Rabbi Akiva says Ne'emar Tameh v'Ne'emar Derech Rechuka. It says Tameh and it says Derech Rechuka, which means by Pesach Rishon. Right? It says that if somebody's tameh, so he brings Pesach Sheni. It also says in the Torah that somebody that was in Derech Rechoka and Pesach Rishon, he also brings Pesach Sheni. So it says tameh and Derech Rechoka, which means that a person's far away in both of them. Right? So this is where we are starting today on the top. Ma tameh, just like the person that is tameh, shesipek biyado leasot. Right? Just like the tameh, if he would have been able to do the Pesach, right? Meaning that the Torah would not have stopped him because he's not in a derech rechuka, and still Eno say he cannot do it, which means the Torah stops him from doing so, even though he's here. He could have brought it, but just the Torah tells him no, because he's tameh. After derech rechuka nami, so to derech rechuka has to be shesipek biyado la'asot v'noseh, that even if he's able to do the Korban Pesach, for example, he has a shaliach and he doesn't do it, the Torah says he doesn't do it. Why? Because since he's derech rechuka, he doesn't send a shliach, he has to come and he does it himself for Pesach Sheni. Okay, that is the shita of Rav Sheshat. Okay, Rav Nachman amar lecha, but Rav Nachman is going to tell you, right? Rabbi Akiva leta'ameh. Rabbi Akiva goes according to his own reasoning. The kasavar, because he says, en shochatin ve'en zorkin al temesheretz. We do not do the shechita, we do not do the sprinkling of the blood on a case of temesheretz. Ve'ana svidali keman de'amar. Right, but I hold like the mandamar that says shochtim vezorkin al tameh sheretz, that you do it for a tameh sheretz. Okay, which means that what's happening here is that even though the person could become tahor until the nighttime, and then he is fitting, since he holds that the Torah says when it's tameh he doesn't bring it, so I hold like the mandamar that says that shochtim vezorkin on tameh sheretz, because he could become tahor in the nighttime, which means like this: a person touches a sheretz. The touching the sheretz does not make him impure, like, for example, touching a tamemet or things like that. Then now it's 7 days, right? It's the 1 day. So that night, he's going to be okay. So what does he do? He does tevilah in the mikveh, and then that night, he's pure. So says over here, he says, Rabbi Akiva holds that a person which is impure right now, even though he could become pure later on, we do not do the shechita or the zrika of the dam on him. Why? He's tameh. But we hold, like the mandamar that says, right, that yes, we do it. We do shechita and we do zrika on tameh sheretz. Fine. So Tanu Rabbana, we learned in a Braita, Elu she'osin et hasheni, right? These are the people that do the Pesach Sheni. Who are the people that do the Pesach Sheni? Hazavim. Yeah, Azav. Ve'azavot. And Azava. So remember, Zav is for the male, Zavot is for the females. HaMetzorim and Metzoraot. The male and the females of the Metzorah. People that have leprosy, right? Venidot, right? A woman that's a nida, ubolenidot, or a man that had relations with a woman when she's a nida, he also becomes tameh for 7 days, just like her, right? That's a very important halakha. People don't even know that, which means that if somebody has relations with a nida, just like the nida is tameh for 7 days, so too the human being becomes tameh for 7 days because he lived with a nida. Okay, then that's called bolenidot. Hayoldot, a woman that gives birth. Hashogigin va'anusim ha'mezidin. Right, or even a person that's shogeg or anus or mezid, which means by accident or force majeure, or purposely he didn't do the korban pesach rishon, right? Ve'atameh, somebody that's tameh, or misha derech rechuka, somebody that was going to be in a far off place. In all these cases, right, they do not do pesach rishon, they do pesach sheni. In ken, if so, lama ne'emar tameh. So why does it say by, right, tameh, by the pesach sheni? I'm saying, look how many cases you have. Why does it specifically only mention the tameh? So he says, lama ne'emar. But even if he wanted to do the first one, we don't let him do the first one, which means that not even through a shaliach we let him do so. Meaning, imagine a guy that's tameh, and he comes and he says, "Okay, fine. So he's impure, but he wants to do it with the shaliach. We don't let him. He wants to. Doesn't matter. He's tameh. That's it.
But he's karet also.
Yeah, but the Torah says that since he's tameh, he does a pesach sheni. He doesn't get karet. Okay. So says the Gemara, Ela imken ne'emar, lama ne'emar b'derech rechuka. So then 1 second, if you're going to tell me that all these people are pushed off to Pesach Sheni, so then why did the Torah specifically mention somebody that's tameh or derech rechuka, that he's far away? Answers the Gemara, lepotro min karet uchman de'amar hurtza. It's to make him patur from karet, which means that it's coming to teach you that he was pushed off completely because other people cannot do it for him. So since other people cannot do it for him, it was like hurtza, that now it was accepted, that now there's no problem. Which means that I would have said maybe Bemet, if he was away, he should have planned his vacation a little bit differently. He should have planned his outings or his business trips or whatever it is in a fashion that there wouldn't have been a problem. But rather, the Gemara is coming to teach you that no, that really Bemet in such a scenario, right? That's what we're trying to say. In such a scenario, also you're going to be tahor, okay? Meaning patur from karet, and therefore you don't bring it on the first Korban Pesach. You're going to do it on the second Korban Pesach, Pesach Sheni, okay? So now the Gemara is going to go back to do with the women. If you remember, we brought down, right, in the previous Mishnayot, we went and we brought down a whole bunch of opinions. What happens with women? We brought down, if I remember correctly, I think it was 3 opinions. Remember? One opinion said, one extreme, the women are obligated in Pesach Rishon and in Pesach Sheni. Another one said, Pesach Rishon, they're obligated. Pesach Sheni, they're not. They're patur, right, and they don't bring it at all. The other one is that even the Pesach Rishon, it's done with a group, correct? They don't do it on their own, if I remember correctly. And then, so there was a few. So now the Gemara is going to ask, which one? Is mitzaref, exactly. They could only combine, but they can't bring it on its own. So the Gemara is going to ask, Isha b'shenim mechayva? Are you going to tell me now that a woman is going to be obligated in a sheni? Why? What were the groups that we brought down? We brought down nidot, right? We brought down zavot. We brought down yoldot. All those cases are women, right? We didn't bring down only the men. The men was the zavin, you're right, the mitzoraim. We brought down mitzoraot, it's women, right? So it means in all these cases, they're all women. So if they're women, is a woman obligated in a Pesach Sheni? So it says, Vatanya, we learned in Braita, I would have thought to say that you don't do the Pesach Sheni only somebody that was tameh or somebody that was a derech rechoka. Zavin mitzoraim boloe nodo minayin. But again, these are now males. Zavin, the male people, right? Mitzoraim, male leprosies, right? People have leprosies, and boale nidot, the males that they had relations with the nidah. How do we know? Tamulumar ish ish ki tameh. The word ish ish comes to teach you that any type of a tumah comes and stops. It means it's not only just a tameh, it's even a tameh of any type of a tumah. This tumah could be whether it's because of tumah of a mitzorah, tumah of a nidah, doesn't matter what type of a tumah. Any type of impurity is going to stop you from doing the Korban Pesach. Okay? But again, all these things are males, not females. So answers the Gemara, la kashya, it's not a question. How Rabbi Yosef? How Rabbi Yehuda b'Shimon? It all depends whether it's Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef says women are obligated in Pesach Sheni, and the other one is Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon, that they hold that women are not obligated in Pesach Sheni. Yeah? So therefore, that's what we answered. We answered the 3 different shittot. Okay? Fine.
So it means in the case in Pesach Rishon, she was not pure, so she couldn't make, she's not obligated to do Pesach.
Exactly. According to the shita of Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. Right? But according to the first shita, Rabbi Yosef, yes. Okay? Okay, fine. So now it says the Gemara, we learned in the Braita.
According to Rabbi Yosef, if she's not pure in the Pesach Rishon, she's not pure also in Pesach Sheni.
No, if a person's not pure in both, so I guess it's force majeure. Obviously, there's no way of making up a third one. Understand? If a person was tamei on the Rishon and also tamei on the Sheni, there's nothing what to do.
No, for women, usually, I mean, it's a cycle of a month, so she's not pure in the Pesach Rishon. Possibly she's not pure. I mean,
that's not
high chance.
It's not always true. Depends.
I mean, have chance.
Yeah, it does have chances.
Chance.
Remember, you have to remember that.
I know it's not true.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We learned in the Braita. Chayav karet ala rishon v'chayav karet ala sheni divrei Rebbe. Says Rebbe, if a person comes and they did not bring the Korban Pesach Rishon b'mezid, and they did not bring the Korban Pesach Hasheni b'mezid, so he's chayav karet, right, on both. These are the words of Rebbe. So he gets 2 karets. Yeah, double whammy. Yeah, 2 for 1.
Why double?
Yeah. Why double? For Pesach Rishon, Pesach Sheni. Yeah, there's 2.
Is b'mezid there?
Yes, b'mezid. Okay. Rabbi Natan says, Chayav karet ala rishon upatur ala sheni. No, you're only going to be chayav karet on the first one, and the second one you're going to be patur. Okay? But he says that the Pesach Sheni is only a tashlumin of the rishon. So therefore, there's not a karet on itself. You know what I mean? That the entire question is Pesach Sheni like a new entity, or it's only just like tashlumin? If you say it's tashlumin, if the guy already got the ticket the first time, he's not going to get a ticket again. Right? Somebody once told me that when you get... so says the Gemara, okay? Rabbi Chanina ben Akavia Omer, says Rabbi Chanina ben Akavia, Af al Rishon eno chayav karet, al imken velo asar tashni. Even on the Rishon, the person is going to be chayav karet unless, right, he didn't do the sheni, right? Which means that only if he didn't do the sheni, then he gets the karet. But if he does the sheni, he doesn't even get the karet on the Rishon. So says the Gemara, Ve'azdu l'tamayhu, and we're going according to that which we said their reasoning, which is Rabbi Natan. The time was we learned in a Braita. Ger sheni d'geir ben shnei Pesachim. What happens if you have a ger that he converts in between the two korban pesachs, Pesach Rishon and Pesach Sheni? Or another case which is very, very common, Katan sheigdil. You have a child that he became bar mitzvah. Yeah, in between the first one and the second one. Then Shnei Pesachim. Chayav la'asot Pesach Sheni. Divrei Rabbi. According to Rabbi, he's obligated to do the Pesach Sheni. Rabbi Natan says, Kol shezakuk l'rishon, zakuk l'sheni. Kol shezakuk l'rishon, zakuk l'sheni. So this is the same machloket, which means like this. Do we say that Pesach Sheni is a tashlumin, or it's a new din in itself? If it's tashlumin, so if you weren't chayav in the rishon, you're not chayav in the sheni. So whether it's a katan sheigdil or a gesh shenit kayer, he's not going to be chayav. But if you're going to tell me that it's a new entity in itself, what do I care about the rishon? The rishon you were exempt, now you're chayav. Okay, fine. So what is machloket between Rabbi and Rabbi Natan? Rabbi holds sheni is a regel bifnei atzmohu. That a sheni, that the second one is a chag in itself. That means even if somebody did not have the rishon because he was not fitting, this is a regel bifnei atzmo. This is its own chag in itself. Rabbi Natan says no. Sheni is only tashumin the rishon. Takune le rishon lo metakene. Right, the Pesach sheni is not going to be a metakenet averav the bitul Pesach. Right, to make him patur of karet. Okay, so he says, so basically this, it's like three different shitot. Rebbe holds it's a completely new entity. So if it's a new entity, you get karet for both, and everything is both. And even if in the middle of the first one you weren't fitting, the second one you are fitting, meaning you were a katan that became older, or you were a ger that became a ger, right? So you're going to be chayav. Rabbi Natan was a middle ground. He says the sheni is a tashlumin, but it does not fix the first one. Meaning it is a tashlumin, but it is not fixed. So therefore, if a person had karet on the rishon, karet, there's nothing worth getting out of it, right? The only thing is, you're not going to get another karet for the sheni, because the sheni is only a fix, right? It's only tashlumin. Rabbi Chanina holds, no, the sheni is a tikkun, and therefore he would actually exempt him from karet if he actually does bring the rishon. And all three opinions actually learn it from the exact same pasuk. Meaning these three opinions of Rabbi Natan, and Rabbi Chanina, they learn from the same pasuk. Why? The pasuk says, right? The person that is tahor and he was not on the path and he didn't do the korban pesach, he gets karet. Why? Because he has the korban Hashem and he didn't bring it. Right? And he didn't. He has to carry the sin. Rabbi holds. Okay, so Rabbi is going to come and he's going to say this. If you don't do the korban pesach rishon, they get karet. Telo ava berishon. Inami, or another explanation, korban Hashem lo ikri b'moado, right? B'sheni, that even a korban Hashem he did not bring, right? Like a sheni. What does that mean? That he's also going to be chayav karet even on the sheni. So he learns that the word v'nichreta, which is at the end of the pasuk, actually goes already at the beginning also. V'chadal la'asot pesach, right? V'nichreta delo avad berishon. Okay, and inami korban Hashem lo ikri b'moado b'sheni. Okay, fine.
But
Rabbi holds v'chadal la'asot pesach v'nichreta. What does that mean that a person did not do the pesach and now they get karet? Telova b'rishon inami korban Hashem lo ikri b'moado b'sheni. That's the second one. Okay, so that's how he learns it from that pasuk. Omimai dehai cheto yisa karetu. So how do you know that when it says cheto yisa yishahu, how do you know that that refers to karet on the sheni? So says the Gemara, Tzadik Gimel Amud Bet, kasavar megadef haynu mevarech Hashem. Right, uchtiv mevarech et Hashem v'nasach cheto. Right, vegamar hay cheto de'acha. Right, he says like this. It says, right, megadef. What does it say by the megadef? Megadef is somebody that he gets karet. What does that mean? He's blessing Hashem. What does it mean that he's blessing Hashem? Right, what does it mean he's blessing Hashem? He says, right, uchtiv, right, bemevarech et Hashem v'nasach cheto. The Gemara, so we're making like a gzera shava. Hay cheto de'acha mi cheto de'atam. Meaning it's a gzera shava, gzera shava. That means just like if somebody blesses the name of Hashem. Remember, when I'm saying blessing, it's with it's the opposite of blessing. And if somebody's going to bless the name of Hashem, it's written v'nasach cheto. It's written cheto yisa. So to here, when it says v'nasach cheto, we're making gzera shava. So just like over there, it's karet. So to here, it's going to be karet. That's what we're actually saying. Okay. Ma lehalan karet, afkana mi karet. So to here, it's going to be karet. That's what he holds. So he holds that that's all he says. I mean, the first one, it says mefurash, right? V'chadala, so the Pesach nichreta is on Pesach Rishon. When it says korban Hashem lo yikriv modo cheto yisa ishahu, that's Pesach Sheni. When it says cheto yisa means that he gets karet as well. So that's why he gets karet by both, also Pesach Rishon and also by Pesach Sheni. So if a person didn't do both of them in mezid, he gets 2 karets. Rabbi Natan Tzavar, Rabbi Natan holds v'chadala sota Pesach v'nichreta. What does it mean v'nichreta? Right? What does this mean? So it says dehai kileshon dehahu. When it says v'chadala sota Pesach v'nichreta, according to him, the pirush is that if you didn't do the Pesach Rishon, you're chayav karet. But then when the pasuk says ki korban Hashem lo ikri b'moado, he's explaining the word ki korban Hashem lo. Ki is lashon teha. What does that mean? It's because of. So the chelek hashani, the second part of the pasuk, is actually giving a reason to the first chelek of the pasuk. Ve'hachi kamar ramana. This is when the Torah says teha, because korban Hashem lo ikri b'moado b'rishon, because you didn't bring it. Right? So if you didn't bring it on the Rishon, that's why you're going to be chayav karet. So what does he do with the words cheto yisa? Kasavar megadef lo avaynu mevarechet Hashem. He holds the megadef is not mevarechet Hashem. Vegamar, right? So you can't learn the karet from it. Vegamar cheto deata mecheto deacha. Mahatam, just like over there, right? The kavanah is here. The kavanah is to the karet, right? Just like the Torah started. Afhatam, so too over there by the mevarechet Hashem, right? He's going to be chayav karet. Uldat Rabbi Natan, you need this limud by the Mevarechet Hashem, right? Just like it's written from the Mevarechet Pesach, which means we learn it the other way around. That means we're learning it the other way around, not from Pesach to the Megadef, but rather Megadef to the Pesach, right? That means we're flipping it. Okay. So now Rabbi Chananya Mekavya Savar, this is the third opinion. Rabbi Chananya Mekavya holds v'chadala sota the Pesach v'nichreta. What does it mean that you're not going to do Korban Pesach and you did karet? I Korban Hashem lo yikri b'moado. If it's going to be Korban Hashem lo yikri b'moado, Basheni, we're talking about the second one. So what are you doing with cheto yisa? What are you doing with that? Just like we said over there, right? Just like we said above, right? That means the cheto yisa, he's learning like the second opinion, like Rabbi Natan. Okay, hilkach therefore hezi bezel v'zeh, right? If he did mezid them both, ledivre kol chayav, according to everybody, for sure he's going to be chayav 1 karet minimum. Shagag bezel v'zeh, if he did shogeg by both, ledivre kol patur. Right? For according to everybody, it's going to be patur. But remember, it's only on mezid. It's only purposely that you're chayav karet. Hezi berishon v'shagag b'sheni. What happens if you were mezid in the rishon, but you were shogeg in the sheni? According to Rebbe and Rabbi Natan, you're going to be chayav. Right? Why? Because according to both of them, the Pesach sheni is not a tikkun of the averah. So therefore, since you did the averah the first time around, that's the karet. But according to Rabbi Chananya Mekavya, you're going to be patur from karet. But since the second time is a tikkun, and the second time around when it was a tikkun, you weren't able to do the tikkun because it was a shogeg, so you're going to be exempt. Shagag v'rishon v'zi b'sheni. What happens if you were shogeg in the first one, but you did it purposely in the second one that you didn't bring it? So he says, in such a case, according to Rebbe, you're going to be chayav karet, right? Why? Because, right, the first time around, you were shogeg, so you're patur, but the second time around, you're also chayav karet. But according to Rabbi Natan and Rabbi Chananya Mekavya, you're patur, because it's only din tashlumin. So since you were shogeg in the first one, right? So therefore, you're patur karet on the first one, and the second one you can never be chayav karet unless you were b'mezid. And here you did it b'shogeg. You did it. Sorry, in this case you were mezid in the sheni, but according to the opinion of Rabbi Chananya Mekavya, it was a tashlumin and it was going to fix it. So therefore, it's not going to be chayav karet on its own. And also according to Rabbi Natan. So because of that, those are the 3 different. Right? We just did a summary of all the 3 different cases. Okay. Very good. Mishnah. Tzadi Gimel Amud Bet. Says a Mishnah. What does it mean now when we say that somebody is going to be in a far off place? Yeah, is it derech rechoka? What does it mean derech rechoka? Right? So does it mean from here to China? Does it mean from here to I don't know, Los Angeles? What does it mean derech rechoka? So says the Mishnah, right? It says mina modi'im velachutz, from the city of Modi'im, right? Modi'im and outside.
Steps, no?
Which one?
2,000 steps.
Let's see, right? Uchmidata lechol ruach, and the same halacha would apply to every single direction. Okay, these are the words of Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Eliezer says, "Meiskupat azara v'lachutz." Derech rechoka means from outside of the azara and outside. That's already enough. So Amalei comes and he tells him, Rabbi Yoseh, lefichach nakud al ha'ahei. That's why there's a nikuda on the hay of rechoka. Right? That means sometimes in the Torah you have some dots on top of them. Avod Minatan, he's got a whole bunch of different, Rishima list of all the letters that have dots on them on the Torah. So this nikuda, usually we come and we try to exclude something from it. So he comes and he says, why does it have a dot on top of rechokam, the hay of rechoka? Lomar, to tell you, lo mipnei sherachok vadai, ela mischukat hazara v'lachutz. Not as because mamash he's going to be so far away that he's going to be exempt, just like we're talking about in a case of that he's in a far off city, but even from the Sukubat Azara and outside, he's going to be patur from bringing it. Fine. Says the Gemara. Amar Ula. Ula says, Mina Modi'im Yerushalayim, 15 milin havya. From Modi'im until Yerushalayim, there's 15 mil. Okay?
Is the same Modi'im than today?
Which one? I don't know. 15 mil. 1 mil is 2,000 amot.
Yeah, but
So 15 of those. What? It's around 15 kilometers? Yeah?
From Yerushalayim?
Yeah, 15 kilometers? Okay. So then that's what it is.
But 15 kilometers is more than 2,000 steps.
Who said 2,000 steps?
Who said 2,000 steps? It's 2,000 amot, not steps.
Ah,
Amot. Every amma is a few steps.
okay.
Remember, an amma is, let's say, 2 or 3 steps. Remember that an amma, right, is 48 centimeters, according to the Grachnai.
48 when 48
Half a
centimeters.
meter. 2 amot
Half
is
a
4
meter.
meter.
Yeah, half a meter.
1 amot.
1 amma. So 2,000 of those.
2,000 amot is impossible to be 15 kilometers.
It's 1 kilometer.
No.
1
2,000 amot, right? 2,000 amot is just under 1 kilometer. It's 960 meters, or 1.052, whatever, according to Chazon Ish. Now I just said it's 15 of those. You understand? 15. 15 milim. There are 15 mils. If you want to make it very simple, I don't want to translate mil as miles because a mile is more than a kilometer. So that's why I'm translating it's like a kilometer. But it's true. It's in between. You understand? Meaning if you're going to take it, it's in between, right? That's what it is. What? It's like a kilometer. Let's pretend it's a kilometer. So therefore, when it says here 15 mil, it's like 15 kilometers. Okay? So says the Gemara. He holds like Rabbi Bar Yochanan and Rabbi Yochanan. Kama malach adam bayom. How much is the mahalach of a normal human being in the day? Yeah, how much does a person walk during the day? Yeah, it says asara parsaot. So it says over here, right? How much does a normal person walk during the day? Asara parsaot, right? 10 parsaot. Now remember, every single parsa is 4 mil. Okay, so that means 40 kilometers. Meaning a regular person could walk 40 kilometers. Okay, that makes sense? A day. 40 kilometers. Okay?
No, it doesn't stop.
We don't do
Yeah?
even 1 kilometer.
Which one?
We don't do even 1.
Okay.
Even half we don't do a day. In a week.
Yeah, okay, fine. Right? That's
A marathon.
what?
A marathon.
Yeah, it's like a marathon. Right? You're actually speaking about a marathon. My daughters have marathon today. Bet Yaakov have marathon today. They're going from North Miami Beach, from Bet Yaakov to Miami Beach, walking. All down the 163rd and Collins. So imagine they're going all the way, they're passing Surfside, going all the way to Miami Beach. Yeah. Yeah. So he says like this. Yeah, you guys listen to that. Listen, it's good. It's good. Yeah, they do it every year. Yeah. So the marathon, exactly. So 40 mil. Now it says here, me'alot shachar until Netzach Hama is 5 milin. According to the Shita, from alot shachar, from dawn until the Netz, is 5 milin. Mishkiat hachama ve'etzet kochavim 5 milin. It's also another 5 from Shkia until Tzet Kochavim. Well, my kasha.
The time with the distance.
We're going to see now. So Pashu lehu tzlatin. So it comes out there's another 30 left. So Chamesar mitzafra lepalgad yoma, 15 from the morning until the midday. Right? V'chamesar another 15 mipalgad yoma from the middle of the day leurta until the nighttime. So it comes out that you have the entire amount right inside. Okay, makes sense? So you have 5 from alot shachar until the Netz, 5 from Shekia until Tzet Kochavim, 30 in the middle. Okay? Ve'ula letame, and Ula goes according to his reasoning. Tamarula Bazula says, Ezeu derech, what is derech rechoka? Kol she'enu yicholek yikanes b'shat hashechita. What does it mean? That you're so far away that you cannot come into the Azara during the time of the Korban Pesach. Okay? So it says over here that he's so rachok, she'im yetzeh derech v'chatzot hayom, you cannot get there on time for the Korban Pesach. Okay? Fine. So by the way, you should know right? Just so that way we could actually just go back in the footnote there. He says, Alot HaShachar is the first time when you have the rays of the light. The Netzach Hama is when the sun actually comes out, right? Shkiat HaChama is when the sun actually goes down, and Tzetok HaChavim is later on. So now what happens is, by the way, two things. Number one, you realize that it's the same amount of time from the Alot HaShachar to Netz, just like Shkia until Tzetok HaChavim. And that's the reason why the concept of Rabbeinu Tam. What?
5:30 and 5.
5 and 5. 5 from Alot HaShachar until Netz, and 5 from Shekia until Tzetok HaChavim. Now, and 30 in between, in the middle of the day. Now, according to this, 5 mil. How much is a mil in minutes?
An hour.
How much is a mil? How long does it take you to walk a kilometer? So it's 18 minutes. We always pass a meal is 18 minutes. And by the way, you should know we're coming to Pesach. Rule number 1, right? Pesach, right? When does it become chametz on Pesach? 18 minutes, right? That's why on all the boxes of matzah, what's going to be written? Made in 18 minutes. Why? Because there are other shitot. There's a shita of the Gaon Vilna. There's a shita of the Shulchan Aruch Harav, right? That some they say whether it's 22 and a half minutes or 24 minutes. So for example, people that would go like the Gaon or go like Chabad, right, which is the Shulchan Aruch Harav, they would still usually try to be machmir to do 18 minutes. They wouldn't say, no, we've got 22 and a half minutes, we've got 24 minutes. Because after the meal, it becomes chametz, right? And by the way, you should know this halachot apply to everything in life, right? How much is ben hashmashot, what we say? What do we usually call, how much? No, 13 and a half minutes. Why? No, because ben hashmashot is 2/3 of a meal. So now if you're going to say it's 2/3 of a meal, so it's 13 and a half because you're taking 18, you divide by 2/3, it's 13 and a half. But if you're going to tell me that the meal is 22 and a half or 24, you've got longer, right? And this is, by the way, in everything ben hashmashot, whether we're talking about in everything, you don't know how many nafkaminas there are about what is a meal, right? How far do you have to go to find a minyan, right? 4 meal forwards, 1 meal backwards. It's a big difference, right? If you're going 4 meal forward, 72 minutes, you have to travel forward 72 minutes, but backwards only 18 minutes. Netilat yadayim, same thing, right? How much do you have to travel for netilat yadayim? The meal, all these halachot have to do with the meal. So according to the shita, if you're going to tell me that it's 18 minutes, 5 times 18 equals 90 minutes. What? 90 minutes. 5 times 18. Iowa. I have to teach you guys also math. Huh? Yes, halachic hours. Halachic hours. So it's an hour and a half. This is the shita of the Magen Avraham, which means shitat Shulchan Aruch, as we're going to see now, right, a little bit further on, I think, if I remember correctly, that we're going to see. If not, then it might be in a different Gemara, but for sure, right, shitat Shulchan Aruch is that there's only 4 meal between the Alot HaShachar and Netzach Hama, and 4 meal between the Shekia and Tzetok HaChavim. So how much is 4 times 18? 72. Thank you very much. 72. So the 72, that's the Rabbeinu Tam, or that's the 72 in the morning. So if you take the bulletin and you're going to come and you're going to take, right, the Alot HaShachar, dawn 72 minutes. Why does it tell me dawn 72 minutes and then it gives me 2 opinions, whether it's complete minutes or whether it's in ma'alot, in degrees? Because this is the dawn of the 72 minutes, which is Shulchan Aruch. If you go like the Magen Avraham, really it's 90 minutes. Yeah? Makes sense, no? Or even if you don't go like that, even if you would go like the Gaon Vilna, that it's 22 and a half minutes, 22 and a half minutes and 4 meal is? Exactly, the 90 also. Sorry, I apologize. Yes, the 90, which means, right, the 22 and a half, which means the 22 and a half, that means according to the Gaon Vilna, he also holds of the 90 minutes before, but not because of the 5 meal, because of the 4 meal, but it's 22 and a half minutes. You understand? It's a beautiful stuff. Mamash, it's so incredible when you're going through. So this is exactly from, they learn it from the Gemara. They're learning it from the Gemara. Fine. So says the Gemara.
Also because there's a rule with the number 9. Everything that you multiply for 9.
Fine, okay, no, but now we're not speaking about Musar or Kabbalistic things. Yeah, we're just talking about the concept. Yeah.
This is not
no, I know, but it has nothing to do with that. You know, say here we're talking about the normal walking of a human being, and how long does it take from the dawn until Netz, and from Shekiat HaChama until Tzetok HaChavim. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Amar Mor says, Me'alot HaShachar ad Netzach Hama 5 melim. So 1 second, what did we just say? We just said from the Lot HaShachar until Netz was 5 mil. Menalan, how do we know that? Tichtiv, it says in the pasuk, Uchmo HaShachar ala Vayayitzu hamalachim belot, which means just like when the shachar went up, the malachim started putting pressure on Lot. No, get up, get out of here, get out of here. Right? Uchtiv in a certain Hashemesh yatsa la'aretz velo batzoara. The shemesh came out, and then Lot came to Tzora, which means the Amar of Chanina says Chanina, I saw that place, which means I saw the place from where he was in Sodom until right Tzora. It's 5 mil. So how do you know that it was 5 mil between the dawn and Netzach Hama? Very simple. It says that the Malachim started putting pressure. When did they start putting pressure? Amud Shachar, Alot Shachar. When did he get to Tzora? Hashemesh yatsa la'aretz, Netzach Hama. So therefore, the distance between where he was in Tzora was 5 mil. So that's how we know it. So Gufa and Amarula says, what does it mean that it's a far off place? If you cannot come in during the time of the Shekiyah, which means if you're going to leave your house, you cannot get in during the time of Shekiyah and before the Shekiyah, right? You cannot get the time of Shechita before the Shekiyah. Rav Yehuda says, if you cannot get there at the time of the eating it, which is much later on. Shekiyah is much before eating. Remember, Korban Pesach is eaten at night. Here, right, it's that during the Shechita. Shechita has to be done during the day. So Amale Rabba Leula says Rabba Teula Ledidach Kasha Rav Yehuda Kasha. It's a question whether according to you or according to Rav Yehuda. Why? Let's learn. Ledidach Kasha, for you it's a question. Te'amarta, but you said Kol she'ena ta yachol likanes b'shat hashechita. If you cannot get in during the time of the Shechita, they had to measure. What about to measure it? You can get in when it's Shat Shechita. The Kamartan you said, Shochtim v'zorkin to Mesheretz. That you do Shechita and you do Zrika even on to Mesheretz. Now, 1 second, right now, can you get in? No, you can't get in until you become nighttime. So, for what are you talking about then? You just told me that at Mesheretz you could do the Tevila and then you could actually do it for him. But now, 1 second, but why? Right? He's Tameh right now, he can come in. And according to Yehuda, it's a question. Te'amar, but he said, Kol sheni yochol likanes b'shat achila. If you cannot get in during the time of the Achila, v'hal to Mesheretz yachol. Right, right, and the Tamesheretz you could go in during the time of the Achila. The Ka'amar, and you said in Shitat Rabbi Yehuda, she'en shochatim zokin Tamesheretz. You do not do shechita or zrikat adam for Tamesheretz. So you have a contradiction between them both, right? Which means it just doesn't make sense. Something's going on over here. Okay, so the answer is the Gemara. Malay, he says, "Lo lidi kasher Rabbi Yehuda." It's not a question, not on me, not on Rabbi Yehuda. Why? Ledidi la kasher. It's not a question on me. Derech lechoka, right, is latahor. When it says the word derech rechoka is only for a tahor because it said in the pasuk latameh or shayav derech rechoka. So the words derech rechoka is only for a tahor person, not for a tameh person. So if for a person that becomes tameh, that he's found even so close to Yerushalayim, right? Even this tameh that he's there, right? Still he could come and he could become pure, and he didn't do so. He's going to be chayav karet because the derech rechoka doesn't apply to him. Okay. And Rav Yehuda la kashya, and according to Rav Yehuda also it's not going to be a question. Why? Tamesheretz rachmana dachye. By Tamesheretz the Torah pushed them away. Tichtiv ish ki etamel lenefesh. So Milo Askina, we're not dealing with Shechal Shvi'i Shelo Liyot Ber Pesach, but the 7th day became a night of Pesach. Vafilu Achi, and still Amar Rachmana Litre. Right? The Torah says to push him away. Right? And not even to do it through a Shaliach. So because of that, the same halacha will apply to Masheret, that also he's going to be pushed off from this, right, until the nighttime, right, during the time of the Achila. Okay, tomorrow, B'Zat Hashem, we continue, right, B'Zat Hashem tomorrow morning. Sorry.
This afternoon.